Humpday Hangout and to our show, the issues and challenges in today's fire service. I'm Chief Rick Lasky, and we're hanging out today with some pretty incredible people, and we're going to be visiting on our topic today, the history and honor of our pipes and drums, the pipes and drums bands. Our guests are pretty awesome. Join us once again. Terry's with us before. We did our special on law enforcement. Terry McGrath is an assistant chief with the Louisville, Texas Fire Department. He's been a drummer for a long time, a former Dallas police officer, paramedic. Terry's acting chief right now in Louisville, and Terry's been with Louisville for years and is the coordinator of Keeping Tradition Alive. We'll talk about that, KTA, later. That's the largest pipes, drums, and honor gun symposium in North America. Also joining us is Mike Nugent. Mike is a 34-year veteran of the fire service, currently works with Broward, Florida Fire Rescue. He's Division Chief of Special Operations Command. In 2006, Mike formed the first fire department pipe and drum band in Broward County, the Black Pearl Pipes and Drums. Awesome logo. We always talk about that. The band has played in Dublin, Ireland, and throughout the United States at line of duty deaths, funerals, and memorials, and other events. And lastly, and not least, our one of my favorite guys in the world, Bob Welch. We call Welch, is a 28-year member of the fire service. He's serving with the Manchester, New Hampshire Fire Department. Is one of the most recognized drum majors in North America. Welch is a piper as well and is assistant commander of the Granite State Line of Duty Task Force. Welch was also featured. It was a pretty cool thing. If you go to FDIC, and hopefully you do, if you're not, you should be, on the cover of Fire Engineering magazine for that month's issue, and the posters and all that. It was pretty cool. It was just awesome. It was just awesome. And but welcome, guys.
Welcome, Chief.
Good morning.
Glad to be here.
Terry, before we go any further, I'm going to ask you about it. How's our brother Tim? Chief Tim Tittle is, for those of you that joined us before. Tim's he's fighting leukemia, but he's going to kick its ass again. He did it once before. He's going to do it again. How's Tim doing, buddy?
Doing really well. Great spirits. He feels good. He was dismissed from the hospital, going a second round of chemo. He was sent home, and kind of, I think, what is typical of his character, he wants to be back at the fire station. So he came out and decided the day that he was going to visit us was our final active shooter training drill, which in the middle of August in Texas is probably not the most ideal time for somebody to get out and about. But so he spent several hours with us that day on our final drill, and I think it unfortunately took a little bit of a toll on him, kind of knocked him down a little bit. But other than he really wants to get out and do things, he just needs to kind of lay down and let his body recoup. So next on the horizon is a stem cell transplant, and so far everything's looking good. It's on track, and he'll get that sometime first part of September, and then he's just gotta let that do what it's supposed to do, and then get him back to work, hopefully within a couple of months after that.
Well, Tim was my partner with Daryl Tim was with me for 12 years almost, Terry, and his picture's featured in Pride and Ownership. Every program I do, I'll be doing it tomorrow, and just outside Orlando, Florida, and the weekend he defines loyalty. He's a great guy. I miss him. He's in great shape, athlete. It's got to be hard for him to sit still, but he'll be back before we know it. He'll kick its ass.
Absolutely.
Hey, one more reminder to our viewers: if you have any questions today, fire them off for us on Twitter, and we'll get to them as quick as we can, or as many as we can. Sometimes we don't get to all, but make sure you add hashtag FE for Fire Engineering, FE Talk, hashtag FE Talk, and don't forget to catch our roll call tips at FDIC.com. They feature different ones pretty much every day, every couple of days. It's pretty awesome. So, hey guys, the history of the pipes and drums runs deep within the fire service and public safety as a whole. Mike, Mike, what kind of person? Because I know we always have people. Everybody always says, "Well, I want to play in the pipes and drums band." But what kind of person does it take to commit to that kind of position, that kind of an honorable position, Mike?
Well, when I started the Black Pearl Pipes and Drums back in 2006, we wanted to bring some tradition and honor back to our fire department, because we were moving so fast with technology, we weren't keeping up with tradition. And it had been something, it was on my bucket list of things that I wanted to do, and I spent, at that point I had 30 years involved with USAR and technical rescue training and classes and instructor, and it's something I always wanted to do. And I found a guy that I was a fireman up in Rochester, New York with. I worked with his dad, and he had grown up, he had got a job with Palm Beach County. His name was John Ferguson, and he was playing at FDIC. And I go, wow, that's something I always wanted to do. He goes, well, all you got to do is buy a chanter and buy this book from Sandy Jones and start practicing. So I did that, and I put something out to my department that, hey, we want to start this. Well, originally we wanted to be the first USAR team, federal USAR team with a pipe and drum component, and that didn't get a lot of feedback. But when I put it out to my department, I have 700 members here in Broward Sheriff Fire Rescue. I had 58 people bought chanters. I am still the only member out of 700 from my department that plays, because once they realize that you have to practice every day, it's the hardest instrument to play. But we've got members from other departments now that if they spent the dedication of 10 minutes a day, and they would make progress and go into classes like KTA and seeing other guys progress through the years. But what I found is the most important aspect of getting somebody to join and to keep it up is support from the brothers. And they get a little peer pressure to keep it going, and yeah, because everybody sounds horrible when you start. They used to make me practice outside, and I was the captain of the station. But it's dedication of, you need to have somebody, you need to go to, you need to find an instructor, and you need to not to worry about playing tunes. You need to learn how to play the instrument first. And if you can get the support, and if you can keep it up for 3 weeks, you will be successful. But what really helps is the support from the guys in the station, the guys and the girls in the station to push you. And you have to be pushed after the first week, because it's a daunting experience. But the most important thing is to get an instructor. And you can get an instructor from any civilian band. You can join a civilian band, or you can find an instructor to come in once a week and spend a half an hour with you and get you going. But the guy that wants to do it is the guy, I call him a 10%er. They're the 10% of your population of firemen that will do everything. They're at the barbecue, they're at the benevolent, they're involved in any benefits, they want to be in the honor guard, they want to be in extrication competition, they want to be in special ops. But that's the case that I found. It's the guys that the love of the job, and they want to keep things going. They're not looking for money or recognition. They're just looking to be a part of something and show their department in a positive light.
Well, Mike, you touched on something that, it is. I think a lot of people think it's like playing a clarinet, where you're blowing into this thing and just keying in notes, which is, no disrespect, nobody plays clarinet, but it's not. I mean, the whole thing about blowing into a bag and playing notes and keeping everything, I mean, just, and Terry, you remember the first time, I'll never forget the first time our guys played live. Damian, Gary, and Todd was at one of our banquets. They had been practicing for almost a year, and everybody was like, everybody's like, oh, are they going to play at the banquet this year? We heard that. I said, no, they're not ready yet. Well, no. So when they showed up in their Class A's, everybody was like, oh, okay, they're really not. And if you remember that, T, after dinner or at the end, they snuck out, and they had that curtain when this big church, Welch and Mike, this big church in Texas, and we had about 500-600 people there for our awards banquet, and Don Shannon, incredible Don Shannon, I'll talk about Don a little bit, is our honorary pipe major. Don was their instructor, so we had the honor guard in the back, and I gave the command to Jim Byers and our honor guard commander, and they opened the curtain a little bit, and out walks Don playing his pipes. Everybody turns around, they're like, oh, that's great, it's Don. And all this, and he came all the way down, Terry, remember, all the way down to the front. He looked up at me, winked, backed up, and the curtain opened up, guys, in the back, and there were our guys who started playing. And Terry, do you remember that? I mean, the emotion, people were...
Oh, it was magical. Just absolutely phenomenal.
Guys were balling. Chris Kirk, one of our captains, was and we had guys stand up in our chairs. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible to see that happen, and it was just there. But Welchie, it is more than just, and everybody, I said this before we went live to you guys, we talk about this all the time, that all too often people associate, especially in the fire service, they associate the bagpipes. I hear some big speakers that are all over teaching, they're like, I hate the sound of bagpipes, because they constantly associate it with a funeral, which is an incredible and an honorable thing to do for one of ours that we end up losing the line of duty, or even off, that's committed to a life of selflessness. But Welch, isn't it more than just amazing grace, isn't it?
It's part of the brotherhood, but it makes, I think, what we talked about, your department. It adds to your department. You're representing your department. When we go to Louisville for KTA, even though I'm down there with the pipes and drums, I'm representing my department. And I think that's what it is. But it's to get us together so we get to play at some good times. And it's like KTA, you learning, it's a school, but then at the nighttime when Terry puts on that thing at the City Hall and you get your whole downtown to come and the mayor's there, it's pretty impressive for us to come into town.
Well, and I think when you guys, Welchie, I mean, the whole, for a lot of people, hearing Amazing Grace is a beautiful song. Hearing it as Cajun Grace, where it's a little bit more upbeat. T, you've seen it at our retirements when we play that, rather than, it's a great way to pay tribute to someone, but not make you sad at an event that's not at a funeral, if that even sounds right? Welchie, I mean, with the Cajun Grace.
We'll play the Amazing or the Cajun Grace. We'll play that at events that aren't at the memorial. We do it. We've played it at KTA. We've done it. We're down with Nuge with some of the Black Pearl events, and it's usually after the memorial's over, and it's upbeat. It gets the crowd involved. The crowd likes to hear that Cajun Grace, and they also like to hear the Rakes of Mallow.
Well, it's like I said, it's beautiful music. It really is. We'll talk about tying a little bit. Terry, I want to ask you a question. Every year, pretty much for the longest time now, you've been coordinating KTA, Keeping Tradition Alive. It's the largest, I said before, largest pipes, drums, honor, I suppose, in North America. Incredible few days. Our city is incredible at their support behind it. Unbelievable. Something that started, if you remember, when Damian Roberts, our pipe major, came back from FDIC and got with a couple of guys from Corpus, a couple other guys down at the band shell there at the amphitheater, and we went down and said, well, the boss wants to know if she can buy you lunch, and what do you want to see? And they said, we'd like to do maybe a jam session every year. And I remember Damian surprised when we left down at Barron's office. We went there for, well, let's talk about maybe every year just getting them together, and we left there with contracts with Miller Lite and everything else. But Terry, talk just a few minutes about KTA, what it means to you and to the fire service.
Well, first and foremost, let's give recognition where it's due. In the infancy of this program, you yourself had a lot to do with this, and I said at the last show I was on with you is that you're very adamant and for good reason about marketing your fire department. So obviously, bringing the pipes and drums into this fire department, some of that I think has to do with your passion for this career, but we saw a tremendous opportunity back in the earliest time. I say we, I wasn't part of that at that time. That was Captain Roberts. That was Chief Thompson, who's the chief over at the colony now. And then you yourself, that this was an opportunity for us to do something great. And so, the idea was born. I think that we worked pretty hard at it. We're going into year 9 next year. We have a capacity of 300. We break them into discipline of 100 pipers, 100 drummers, and 100 honor guard members. We fill the capacity each and every year. this past year, drums filled up in 28 days. So I think that speaks volumes for the quality product that we're putting on, and the urgency for people that want to get down here because they realize what a great thing this is. And similar to what Welch was saying, when you're representing your department, this is a unique gathering of firefighters that, and I always tell, every year I'll field a phone call or two from somebody that says, I've heard great things about your program, but I'm a little bit nervous about going because I don't really play that well, and our group, we do things a little different, and so I've heard them all from one end of the spectrum to the other. But the one thing I always tell them is that this is the most relaxed atmosphere you're going to learn in, and you will learn more in 2 days than you probably have learned in the last 6 months or a year in some cases. And the reason that I say that is because it's firemen helping firemen, and in our group we have professional paid instructors. But you know what? Guys break off, and I'll bring up Welchie here. We don't offer a formal track for drum majors, but we have guys that show up, and you know what? You look over in the corner, they pushed a buffet table out, and they're teaching a couple of guys, some rudimentary, procedures in being a drum major. So that's literally what happens every year, and the success of this thing is because I think that number one, we provide some great quality instructors, but number two, we keep it at I'm very conscientious about keeping this event kind of to the core and to the roots of what we want out of it, and that is we make it affordable, and we let people walk away from here and think, holy smokes, I haven't been to something that I got that much out of in my entire career. And I think for the most part we achieve that each and every year, and for me personally it's incredibly rewarding to be part of it. And it's an exhausting experience, but it's a great change of pace to be involved in that. But it's really nice, driving people back to the airport on Saturday morning, and it's just a continuous, feed of positive comments, and people are really just blown away that we can do it. But they're more importantly, they're blown away at the fact that our city, this is a premier event for our city. And that's top to bottom. Our city government, city manager, they could not be more supportive, and that speaks volumes for what we started, but it speaks volume that we're in year 9, and we continue to have that amazing, unfettered or unwavering support from City Hall.
Golly, 9 years already. You mentioned Chief Scott Thompson with the Colony. Scott was with us for years and started things off, and another drummer, and still plays, and he's still very active. And by the way, if for our viewers out there, I don't know what the deadline is, but the Colony's hiring. If you want to work for a premier proactive fire department with a great boss.
Shows Louisville, we got 5 positions, Chief. Sorry, Scott.
Guys are always stealing from each other. But no, and KTA is pretty credible. For our viewers, if you go to YouTube, type in KTA or Keeping Tradition Live, there's probably Terry, a couple hundred videos if you want to see what the mass band and everything else is about. And it's kind of fun because two of the most popular guys at KTA, Mike Nugent and Bob Welch, are sitting here with us, and you see them in a lot of videos, and there's a reason. There's a reason why that happens. Hey, Mikey, I want to ask you, buddy. You got the Black Pearl band together down there, and we talk about this kind of stuff at KTA and everything. What do you think it's going to take for us to get more bosses on board? Terry, you and I have talked before about Chief Richardson from Coppell, when Chief Bass was in Grapevine, now Chief Brown, who send guys, pay them time and a half to go to this conference. Some of them get it. It's probably the most incredible marketing device, your honor guards and your pipes and drums bands that you can do. But I don't know. It just seems, I don't know. And that's why I was looking at. And Mike, what do you think it's going to take? We'll ask you first to get more bosses on board.
Well, I can tell you at our last 5 command staff meetings, I brought up to my fire chief, Anthony Stravino, that we need more. We have a lot of drummers. We have 18 people in our honor guard, and we have one piper. And I said, if something happens to me, we're going to be in a tailspin. So he looked at all the district chiefs, and he sent out a command notice. He goes, each district will give me 3 guys that will play the bagpipes, and I want those names on my desk by next month. And we got 2 guys. So the chiefs support it. The chiefs see it. They love it. They understand it. I know Chief Lasky, every time you're in town, we come and see it, and that's the first thing you talk about, because we usually try to play for you when you are here. And you always promote us, and everybody agrees. We're trying really hard to get people in it. Every time we have an event, I'll mention the IAFF Memorial in Colorado Springs. I'll probably get 10 people to come up to me after the event, the ceremony, go, I'm doing this, I'm buying a chanter, and they get it, and then I hear, yeah, I got Little League, I got baseball, I got softball, like I'm studying for a test, I go, you'll always have that. That will always be there. And it's South Florida is a tough place to bring these guys in, because it's endless summer here and everybody's doing something. It's starting to take off. It's a slower process. Welch comes down every opportunity he can to help us out. We're gaining some momentum. I don't know if it's a generation gap, but it's starting to get better. But the chiefs and command, they do support it. Budgets are tight. We can't afford to give guys. I give the guys in the band, mostly we have a lot of drummers, I give them comp time. And if it's something special, I might be able to pull some overtime. But funding is every chief knows it's at a minimum right now. We're scratching for everything. But it is coming. It's getting better. It's getting more publicity, and I think we'll be okay down the road. But I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you, Chief. It's tough to get people to come in and get involved.
Well, and I'll be a little bit more outspoken about it. Because you know me, 35 plus years in the fire service, I don't care who I piss off anymore, to be honest. But to some of the fire chiefs out there, there's a way. There's people that will sponsor. There are people that will step up and do things. And that's my thing, Mike and Welch and Terry, is if they want it bad enough, they'll find the money. And I'm sorry, if you can find money for your new fire SUV and sponsor golf outings, all the rest, I don't know what the hell you do, but you can find the funding. The funding's out there if you really want it. I know there's areas that are really bad off, and I understand that. But as a fire chief, if you're not that well connected that you can't find people that are willing to help you with the startup and different things, that's one thing. The second part is, is everybody here, we've been talking about the whole brotherhood thing, and there is a her in brotherhood. I say all the time that, we need more members to step up that are willing to do it. And it takes commitment. It takes, committing to something that takes a lot of work and effort, like you said, Mike, earlier. Terry, KTA, is registration still the same as it was before?
We've incrementally bumped it up, just due to some various funding and support issues. But it's still, I think last year was $70. I think last year was $70. If my memory serves me right.
$70 to come in,
Yeah.
Oh, $70. You're right. I mean, folks, if you can find your way, whether if you can fly yourself, drive yourself, bus yourself, take a boat, whatever you got to do, to get to Louisville, Texas in May every year for this. The hotels do a really good deal right there. The Hilton, with reduced rates at the conference center. Louisville will pick you up at the airport and drive you back. If you need to go anywhere else, they'll take care of you. They pay people to do that. All your food is taken care of. I think Miller still takes care of the beer for the attendees during the mass band. $70, and you're getting some of the most incredible instructors and some of the most incredible brothers and sisters to hang with. anyway, 70 is nothing when you think about
Well,
it.
I'll tell you something else that's huge with KTA is the 6 years that I was able to go before I got this promotion and jammed up, I couldn't get out of here for 2 years. But I always used to bring my wife, and she would be the first one to ask me, well, when's KTA? Because the girls, the other wives that support this through Terry, Summer, and some of the other ones, it's the same people coming every year. You go 1 year, you're going to keep going. And you see the same guys at other events. You see the same guys at FDIC, the same guys in Colorado Springs. And everybody knows each other, and everybody takes care of everybody. And you bring your wife. I know a lot of guys that would go there that would bring their wives. So I figure if I keep bringing my wife, eventually she'll say, no, you just go by yourself, but that never happens because she wants to go every year. So if I don't go, then I have to have her complain. So I'm going on record right now in front of God and my nation that I will be there next year. I promise.
Yeah, a second. Just jot that down there.
Write that down.
It's on YouTube.
Chief, the other thing about Brotherhood is if you can't join the Pipes and Drums, you could actually step up and offer to work for your Pipe and Drum members so they can go to something. That's part of the Brotherhood thing too, that, hey, maybe give up the golf for that day or something, but the department, it's not going to be monetary to the department, but you could actually say, hey, I'll work for you, Mike or Welchie or Terry, so you can go to this event. And that's where it also can work out.
Well, exactly, and it's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. It's, we work around and we get time off to go to a football game or to go do something or an outing, but if you're right, if more of the members stepped up and said, hey, especially when obviously it's last minute, we suffer a line of duty death or and people need to go and we need to get people together. That's a great point. Get more people to step up, and sadly, like I said, there's not enough Chief Scott Thompsons and Chief Richardsons and Chief Darrell Browns to support the people like they do. But Terry, I mean, you've seen the bands grow in size, haven't you, in Texas alone? I mean, it seems like everybody down there's got a band.
Yeah, I think honestly, when we started our group, I don't really have a memory of a solid fire department-based group. There were several police departments that had members, but when we started our group, and I guess for those who aren't from Texas, they always have some weird way of expressing things. So you can't swing a cat down here without hitting a pipe and drum band now. But yeah, literally, I mean, every department that's contiguous to us down here has a solid group now, or is in the process of starting that group, and it's really a good thing to see. And I'll tell you what, when you're needing members, when you're needing to represent or to pay a tribute to either someone who's retiring or, God forbid, a line of duty death or something like that, you know what? It's pretty nice to look out there and see, 30 pipers instead of 3, or 60 drummers instead of 6, and we have that now, and KTA does a real good job of that too, of helping to get everybody on the same page to where you literally can cross geographical boundaries, but you can go from one end of the country to the other. So within the last couple of years, we've incorporated the assistance from a couple of members that are heavily involved in the Colorado Springs event, and they come here with that kind of intention is to come down here and help to continue to build what's being done in other areas of the country, and so we're really seeing a lot more cohesiveness, I guess, and people on the same page. And then of course it helps because everywhere you go, you're seeing the same faces. So I think there's a lot of real positive things that are happening, all across the country. And the other nice thing is that we're not branching out and everybody doing their own thing. Everybody's kind of staying the course on this. And I've seen that in KTA. I would say probably really in the last 4 to 5 years, to where there's always a lot of conversation about making sure that you're doing it the right way, or the uniform way, I guess, is a better way to say it. So, and people like Welch are instrumental in that, because he's a guy that's at everything, and so he can kind of make sure that we're staying in the same the same line.
Well, just a reminder for our viewers, if you have any questions or just comments, whatever, fire them off on Twitter. Make sure you include a hashtag FE Talk. That's Fire Engineering FE Talk. And if you just joined us, a couple guys that just hit me on Twitter just jumped on board. They're on a run. We're visiting today with Assistant Chief Terry McGrath from Louisville, Texas, and Mike Nugent from Broward Fire Rescue in Florida, and Bob Welchy from Manchester, New Hampshire. That being said, Welchy, the importance of the drum major, again, I was into it, but I was also ignorant to so much when it came to the pipes and drums. But watching you and Odie and all the drum majors, and Terry, you mentioned earlier, someone's got to be in charge. And I've watched you, Bob. I've watched, at the events. I mean, we've been there at the restaurants where you come in and you're like, we're going to do this. There's someone's got to be doing that. Define for our viewers the importance. I think everybody just kind of associates that they're up there with the mace, and they're doing stuff. But it's dramatic, the impact that drum majors have on the performance. I was hoping you could visit on that for a few minutes.
Yeah, well, Mike is the pipe major, so we'll say if I go down with a black pearl, and Mike's doing the pipe major is going to make sure that the pipes are tuned up. Mike has decided what the tunes that we're going to play are. And then as the drum major, it's my responsibility to basically do a 360 of the area, find out where they want us, what time they want us there, what the uniform is going to be. And then I'll go back to Mike and report to Mike, hey, Mike, they want us in front of the church at 10 o'clock, or we're going to march the casket down the street, and these are the tunes they want us to play. And it basically set it up that way. Then Mike will tell me, all right, these are the sets we're going to play. I'll call them off, or whoever the drum major is will call them off. We will march down to the pre-described area. We made sure that everybody's lined up, making sure they're dressed properly, and then we just play. As we go funeral, we'll say, as the casket's coming out, I'll be stepped off a little bit, watching to see when the casket comes out, and nod over to Nuge, it's time to start playing if we're going to play Going Home as the casket comes out, and then keep an eye on the casket as the brother's being put on the fire truck to look back over at Nuge as the pipe major saying, okay, we can end the tune at that point.
Well, like I said, it's dramatic to watch that. And Mikey, as the pipe major, watching folks like yourself and Damien them out there, if you pay attention, folks, to our viewers, when you see them playing, whether it's at FDIC or an event or whatever, you'll see that pipe major kind of step out, right, Mike? And kind of, there are certain signs you do to let them know you're either wrapping up or, I've even watched you guys walk over to make sure somebody is keeping, beat with you and all that kind of thing, staying in tune in that. But there's certain things that you take care with that, don't you, Mike?
Absolutely, Chief. Well, Welchie makes it easy, especially for me, because Welchie has that commanding appearance. He'll stand out in front. He'll call it out. He'll either say, by a couple commands. He'll get everybody's attention. He'll hold the mace up. He'll call out the cadence. So he'll say, like, by the right, quick march. Well, by the right means you keep in step with the person on your right. So right away you know who you're going to keep in step with. But the absolute greatest thing for Welchie is he can call out the start of the tune, and with his mace and his tempo he can set the timing so we know the drummers will know how fast to play, because every pipe band seems to play faster and faster and you're in a parade. But the best thing is he's in front of all of us and he's walking. So we just walk to Bob, and Bob has that nice easy stroll, which makes it pretty simple for me, because I'm a tall guy, and one of my other pipers, Iggy, is a short guy, so he has to walk faster. But he sets the pace. When we get to where we're going to go with the directions of the mace, he'll hold the mace up, we'll stop. He picks the mace up at a 45-degree angle. The drummers know they're going to double tap, and that's going to be entered a tune. everybody can see him, and it just makes it easier, and it keeps everything in time and everything in rhythm. If there's a procession and we need to salute, the pipe major will do that for us. We stand at attention, and he does all the work. We just play the pipes and follow him. So without a pipe major, you have to yell the tune out. You have to try, and you can't see what they're doing. He can turn, he can check, he can tighten lines, he can open lines up, he can space us out. Especially in Colorado Springs, where you have a couple hundred pipers. You'll have Welch and Odie and the guys from California and from all over the country. They all get together and they keep us in sync. Because all I tell them is, this is what we're playing, and he tells me this is where we're starting, this is where we're going to end, and he controls us. If we get to the ending point too soon, he'll let us play another tune. He'll shut us down halfway through the tune. He's basically running the show. I'm just telling him what we want to do, and he makes it happen. So he's a huge factor in the whole performance, whether it's a funeral, a parade, or a retirement ceremony, a wedding, whatever. They keep everybody flowing, and they make it look simple, and it's not. It's probably the hardest thing out there.
Oh, it's just watching them pull everybody together, especially when we're doing like the pub crawls, if you will. You know, when you've got people marching in that necessarily can't hear what's going on inside, and keeping everybody on the same thing is pretty incredible. Welchie, you know, the coordination, and Mike just talked about it, between the pipe and drum majors. The coordination between the pipes and drums and the honor guards is huge as well. We've been fortunate with Terry to have Doug Swartz with National Honor Guard Academy come up, and I always joke, I used to tease Doug about that commercial, I should have bought the Falcon, and I'm like, I should have bought the Eagle. Mike, you know this very well. Every time I've taught down there in Florida, when Doug's folks have presented colors and pipes, I think it's Jamie from the Tampa Zoo marches in with the colors, with a bald eagle, a live bald eagle on her arm, which is pretty freaking incredible. And that was kind of a running joke we had all the time, is I should have got the eagle. But Welchie, the importance of being able, and again, it goes back to a little bit what Terry does with KTA. You know, bringing those two units together, the pipes and drums band and the honor guard, is huge as well.
Yeah, it's nice going to KTA and being able to work with the National Honor Guard Society. I've gone down quite a few years down to Illinois with the Illinois Honor Guard, and they put on a weekend more for their honor guard with their pipes and drums. But it does. You need to be able to work them in together. It will say if we're marching down the street to for a funeral, sometimes the flags will want to march ahead quicker than we're ready. You got to say to them, hey, keep an eye back on me. Listen to my movement. And then you'll look, if we have the honor guard is going to march with us, we'll say, like we did it in Cincinnati, you got to be listening to our drum beat, so you're getting the cadence when we're going with left foot. Because basically when we're beating for the drum, you don't want your pipe in to be on one cadence and the honor guard to be on a second cadence. Well,
Welchie, and somebody just hit me on Facebook. We've been kind of reminding folks, make sure you reach out to Pete at Fire Engineering on Twitter at #FETalk. But your question, but same thing we were going to kind of allude to was the question one of the brothers had out there was, you know, he mentioned about selling it to chiefs and to the department to get the support, but the flip side of that is just what it means to perform and pay tribute at a fallen brother or sister's funeral. What, you know, and I ask you first that your thoughts on what it means, because you know, we've said for years as funeral chiefs, you know, you can't get all emotional, you can't get all teary-eyed and cry. You've got to be that person that's running things that's solid and all that. But what does it mean to you when you go and you work one of these very tragic?
Had the honor to go down to Florida to be the drum major for Mike and the Black Pearl, and it was for the brother from Pompano that got killed in a fire. But we went to the wake the night before, and we were going through the line, and it was the family had looked at us and said, "Hey, did you know my brother?" And I'm like, and then they look and they go, "Does that actually say Manchester, New Hampshire?" And I'm like, yeah, it does. I go, it's corny, but we are all brothers and sisters. But even though I didn't know your brother, I knew your brother. And it really affects me that way and I've said, people ask me, why do you go all over Welchie? And I've said, I've done it because if anything ever happened to me, I don't want my parents to be sitting there and having crickets in the church because everybody else was too busy to go that day. It's important to me to say, hey, I'm saying brotherhood. Well, I want to show it by going and representing with pride and honor the fire service for this family that just lost somebody that's close to them.
Well, and you know, I mentioned before, when you look at the KTA videos, obviously Terry, you see Mike Nugent, you see Bob Welch, you see, you know, some of the same crowds, but at some of the events away from it, you see them, and at some of the, you know, the funerals and tributes and memorials, especially the funerals, it's like you see a lot of the same guys, which is good. You see that same nucleus that comes together, and then they draw more like a magnet to it, but make an effort and travel. And I'll mention this to a lot of our viewers. Terry, do you still the vendors at KTA? I know when we first started it with Scott, we waived the whole table fee as long as they were willing to come in and provide a discount, because a lot of folks that play in the pipes and drums, a lot of honor members, are doing it out of their own pocket. Are we still doing that to help some of the people that attend?
Yep, absolutely. Same model. We don't charge for them to have a table. Now we keep it relevant to the event, so we don't allow chiropractors and mortgage bankers and that sort of thing. But yeah, so the vendors that are there are specific to what we're trying to accomplish, and then they offer a discount to attendees. And it's, you know, like I said, it's been great. I think it's good for them, for their businesses, and it's obviously good for our attendees.
Well, and Mike, we were just talking about that. It takes the commitment you said earlier. That's hard, you know, to get people to step up and do that, Mike. But the funding, there's, you know, the maintenance on drums and on pipes, and everything from lessons and travel. And if you're gonna, you know, a lot of guys are paying out of their own pocket to travel somewhere and go play at an event, or, you know, come together when there's a line of duty. That taxes, that works a lot on a lot of guys, doesn't it, Mike? It works hard on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Our band is self-funded, so we sell a lot of T-shirts, and we just recently, a year ago, I get requests for the band every day, and every request is a solid request. It's Children's Hospital, Cancer Center, Butterfly Release, disabled veterans. And what I have to explain to the people is that, listen, we'd love to come and do your event, but you're 50 miles away. And for us to come to your event and come back, we have to get there. So all we're asking for is a donation. We don't have a set price. We don't tell them how much the minimum is. And usually when you do that, the donation you get is more than you were going to charge them if you were going to charge them. And that's worked out. 3 years ago, on December 24th, 2 West Webster firefighters were shot and killed responding to a structure fire. Well, that's right next to my hometown. So Welch had called me. He goes, "Did you see the news?" I was sitting at my desk. I go, "Yeah." I says, "I'm trying to get up there." I have a couple guys in the band work for the city of Fort Lauderdale, and they said, "Well, we're going too." So we're scrambling. 3 o'clock that day, I get a phone call that they had all the stations. I don't know, there's probably 40 stations between Broward and Fort Lauderdale. Had grouped together money to pay for our tickets. So we went, and we got to Webster. It was December 27th, I think, that we did the funeral. Snowing on the ground, freezing cold. We had guys from California there. And they're like, and when we went to the wake, it was at the high school gymnasium because there were so many people. They look at you and they're like, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Florida. Bob's from New Hampshire, and this guy's from California. This guy's from Colorado. This guy's from Arizona." They're like, we had no idea, and we said, "Well, that's why we do this. This is what we're about." And just that alone, just that little bit did so much for the family, for that fire department, and that's why we do this. So it costs money, but there's a lot of people that will support us, will send us to that kind of thing, and the reward you get once you deliver that performance or show you that gratitude, you can't describe it to what it means to that those individuals in that department and family. So that's what we do. We do get some support in that manner, but it's how you feel when you're done, that you actually did something and you've proven that there is tradition still alive and it's not going to die.
Well, and I said earlier, if you've got local businesses, folks out there, our viewers again, getting some of them to help support. Mike, are you guys, you still sell T-shirts, right, year round?
Oh yeah.
Okay. What if somebody wanted to get a hold of you for a T-shirt? I know we're gonna give emails at the end. What would be a good way to go about it?
We have a website, blackpearlpipesanddrums.com, or a Facebook page, Black Pearl Pipes and Drums.
There you go. So, folks, there you go. If you're looking to support something, support your local band, support those folks. Welch, you brought it before. Work a shift for them. Come in and work for them so they can go and do one of these. Terry, you remember we did a lot of retirement ceremonies. I remember one of our battalion chiefs standing next to me, and saying, "This is awesome. This is awesome." I'm like, "Well, it is awesome, but I need you as a battalion chief, the shift commander, to help support us more when your guys need to get moved around." And you remember that? I mean, it was to give them the time and then to shift them around from fires to firehouse. If it's that awesome, then I'll say it again. If you want it to happen, you'll find a way. If you're a shift commander, battalion chief, you'll find a way to move people around. And if you truly call yourself a brother or sister and you put the stickers on your cars and wear the T-shirts, then this is part of it. This is part of supporting it. We've got about 13 minutes left. Terry, I want to hit you real quick. The impact. God, impact's not even good enough. Jim Kilpatrick and Ty Fry and Don Shannon. Don Shannon, world-renowned bagpiper. Ty Fry with the tenor drums and the Red Hot Chili Pipers. My wife and I, Jamie, we're going to go up and see him in Chicago in a couple months. And Jim Kilpatrick. I mean, how cool is it to have those three every year at KTA? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm ashamed in some way, because when we had the opportunity to bring Ty Fry and Jim Kilpatrick in at the beginning of this KTA, it was done with Premier Drums as a sponsorship, so they brought them in. Well, I didn't have any idea who they were, and then of course if you just Google Jim Kilpatrick or Ty Fry, I mean, in this area or this arena, they are true rock stars, and it's pretty awesome to me to pick Jim Kilpatrick up from the airport every year. He comes here for 7 days. This year I had him to my house and cooked him dinner, and we were talking before the show, he goes out
overseas, right?
Yeah, he comes in from Scotland. But in visiting with him, especially this year, because we had the opportunity to kind of sit quietly and just kind of visit a little bit about his life, and I was picking his brain about how preparing for the World Championships and things like that. But just a tremendous individual, and to put it into context, I guess if you were into playing guitar, and you had the ability to have I don't know, Stevie Ray Vaughan or Jimi Hendrix come to your event and basically tune attendees' guitars for them. That's kind of what this is like with these two guys. They are the humblest, nicest, just most energetic and exciting guys to have around, and they will do anything for you. And it's funny, this past year we had a guy, first year here, he showed up, very new. He was a new member of the department, new member on the pipes and drums, and he played snare drum. Well, he just happened to wander over to their table and was asking Jim questions. Well, he showed up with like I don't know, it was a drum set snare drum or something strapped to his leg, or but he obviously showed up with the wrong equipment. And Jim kind of tactfully explained to him that that you don't have the best thing to do the road you're fixing to travel. You're not packed well. But Jim helped him out, tuned it, got him all lined up with the things that he needed. But when he got done, I mean, this guy was just smiling ear to ear, and he was smiling simply because someone spent 30 or 45 minutes with him and individually solved his problem. When he got done, I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, do you know who that guy is?" And he said, "Nope." And I said, "Well, I tell you what, get your phone out and Google him." Well, about 30 minutes later, he comes hunting me down, and I mean, he's speechless. He's like, "Oh, I had no idea that's who that was." And I said, "Yeah, and you would never know it unless somebody like myself comes up and blabs about it, because he's not going to tell you that." And to me, that's kind of speaks to what this event is all about. And those two guys, obviously, if you were gonna label someone as an honorary firefighter, I would put them, high up on that list, because there's no me on this side of the table and I sign autographs from 1 to 3. These guys are on their hands and knees tuning drums and in there playing. When we do our outdoor public concert, they're playing just tremendous assets, and I value the relationship that we have just tremendously.
Well, and again, Terry mentioned it, folks. Google Ty Fry, Google Jim Kilpatrick, Google Don Shannon. If you Google my name, Chief Rick Lasky, out of the videos there, you'll actually see one where I'm interviewing at KTA Don Shannon, and every time I try to play him a compliment, incredible bagpiper. Every time I try to compliment him, that's how all three of them are, Terry. It's almost impossible to pay them a compliment because they turn it around on everybody else, and that's just the kind of people they are.
Right.
And we're all fools. We're all part of the Fraternal Order of the Letterhead Society, an incredible organization of men and women that support and protect the traditions of the fire service and provide quality training to everybody. But as we kind of wind things down here, we're talking about service and selflessness. Mike, I want to throw this one to you, and then we'll go to Welchie and Terry. Mike, if you could put your fingers on the most memorable event. I know this is hard, guys, but I want to try and get all three of you done before we run out of time. Mike, most memorable event you've ever played at, and why? If you could even figure that out, because I know that's hard.
Well, yeah. The first one that comes to mind is 2008, Colorado Springs. First time I did the IFF Memorial and played with 150 pipers at one time, and 100, 200 people in the honor guard, 75 drummers, and we all played the same tunes. It was awesome. I mean, it's just it's biblical for me. It was just the greatest experience. That it was more than I had ever anticipated getting involved with. So that's, I guess you could say, that set the hook, and it's been burning me ever since. So. And I didn't start playing the pipes till I was 50. So it's never too late to start, trust me.
Never too late if you're dedicated and you've got that passion and you own the job, man. Exactly, Mike. And again, the Memorial in Colorado for the IFF every year is an incredible, incredible event. If you can make that, that's another thing you need to put on your calendar, folks. Welchie, most memorable event.
I can't know if I could pinpoint one down, Chief, but for the IFF Memorial, this year is going to be the first year of the brand new memorial. The International spent some big money through convention, and they've actually redone the memorial. They turned it so now the families are going to be facing towards the mountain, and this year will be the first year brand new memorial. But I think just remember going through Terry, meeting at you, KTA. I've gone to the funeral in West Texas for those guys. I was in Prescott, Arizona for those funerals. Like Mike said, West Texas for Worcester, for Boston. I think they're all the same, but just to go and see like-minded people showing up to support the families.
Well, it's, folks, you saw it. It's an emotional thing. I mean, not to. All four of us can get emotional from time to time about things we love and things that we're passionate about, and I've never seen it anymore. Mike, you were explaining before, about going back home for when that coward did what he did to those two firefighters, and all of them, everybody responding, but those two especially. Sad. It is an emotional thing. There is some ties to it. There is some passion about it. Terry, I wanted to ask you, as we kind of round things out here, how does it feel at the end of KTA every year? I mean, I know, Scott, you said you've been doing it for years now. People have no idea the stress, and they're not supposed to. You know, we've said that before. It's about the event for the people. But how does it feel at the end of KTA every year to know what you've done? And like Mike said, it to people coming there that have never held a drumstick before, to those that are advanced. Same thing. Those who just start with their chanters, to those that are advanced. You know, so on and so forth. Welchie helping out drum majors. How do you feel at the end of KTA every year? It's got to be incredible.
I mean, it's incredibly rewarding, and it's nice to, you know, you put a lot of hours into it, and it's not, I mean, it's not me doing this. There's a lot of people, a lot of moving parts of this, but when it all comes together, it's incredible. And you know, I honestly, I tell you, the Saturday morning when everyone's leaving, you know, it's a great time. It's a great time because it's another year over, and it's a little bit of a sigh of relief. But really, when you know, I'm always, I kind of smile. You know, if I'm driving some of the airport, I kind of look out my window and hide the smile from their face, because I'm tickled when people say, my city could never do this, or, you know, how do you get this done? And you know, there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction in that, because I'm proud of where I work, and I'm proud of this city, and the way they've supported. You know, this whole concept was probably a pretty crazy idea, and would be considered a crazy idea to City Hall, or to most city halls, I guess. But man, they saw value in this, and I think more than anything, Chief, they believed that when we walked in there, we said, "Hey, we think we can do something pretty special here," and they kind of stepped back and said, "All right, make it happen." And so we did. So you know, there's a lot of satisfaction. I really enjoy this event. And I enjoy, you know, being able to kind of sit back and realize that we're providing an opportunity that I don't know that anyone else could do what we do, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But you know, by keeping the price the way it is, by arranging the transportation, by making this as minimal as possible when it comes to cost, you know, we're able to accommodate a lot of people. So it's rewarding. I honestly, I wish we could put 400. We're capped because of the size of the facility, and we don't have another facility. So you know, that's probably the hardest part. And this next year will be more difficult, because it'll fill up fast, and there'll be that many more people that are trying to squeeze in. So
it's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible. But hey, folks, we're going to be wrapping things up here. We've been visiting with Assistant Chief Terry McGrath from Louisville, Texas. All right, Mike Nugent from Broward Fire Rescue in Florida, Division Chief of Special Operations Command. Bob Welch, a longtime member of the New Hampshire, and especially Manchester, New Hampshire Fire Department and drum major. Terry, email for you if anybody had any questions about KTA, the website or Facebook, or what do they need, buddy?
Yeah, so you can find me at the cityoflouisville.com by navigating to the fire department. My email is first initial, last name. It's Terry McGrath. And then the Pipes and Drums website's lfdpipesanddrums.com. And the KTA for 2016 will be May 12th and 13th.
May 12th and 13th. So hit the website, hit Terry at tmcgrath@citylouisville.com if you have any questions. Welchie, if they want to get a hold of you, brother, good email for you, pal.
Email will be kilted, KILTEDFF @gmail.
@gmail.com. Okay, very cool. KiltedFirefighter@gmail.com. So you get a hold of Welchie. Mike, good email for you, pal.
You can get me on Black Pearl Pipes and Drums website, or you can get me here at work, Michael_Nugent, NUGENT, @sheriff.org.
Very, very cool. Folks, you know how to get a hold of me at prideandownership.com. Hey, our next show date is September 16th. You can catch some incredible shows every Wednesday right here. Get to interact with some great people. Brothers, I cannot thank you enough. I want you to hang on just a few minutes after we're done. Incredible, incredible show. In closing, folks, we always ask you to please keep the men and women serving in armed forces in your thoughts and prayers, and and what we've been talking about all hour here now. Remember, never forgetting means never forgetting. So be safe. God bless you, and take care.